So we're talking about the book club tonight. And tonight we're on chapter 13, which is the last chapter. It's kind of funny that I put 13 chapters in this book because most people have like this fear of 13. But the last chapter really isn't that long, so hopefully it's not that bad. I included the last chapter because it's really important for me, and the whole reason that I wrote the book really is that I want to make sure that you know that you're not alone. I know that a lot of us as INFJs, we feel like we're so different from everybody else, and we don't feel understood. We can relate to people, but most of the time they don't really relate to us very well. And so it's easy for us to feel like we are the only ones and that there's nobody else in the world that's like us. And sometimes we meet people and we think, oh, you might be similar. And then something comes up and that's, it's always like this disappointment. But I do want you to know that there are a lot of other people out there like you. There are at the very least 77 million people in the world who have the same personality that you do. And there's 60,000 people here on this one Instagram account who all have the same personality. The majority of us do. We're all here for the same reason. And I've been thinking a lot about what is the point of everything. I think we as INFJs get stuck in that, what's the point? What's the reason? I always say that I get frustrated with people because they don't want to talk about the meaning of life. And I spend a lot of time thinking about like, what is the meaning of life? What's the reason that we're here? What's the purpose of everything? And I just keep coming back to happiness. I think that's really exactly what we're doing, Even if you think about all the things in your life that you want to change, I'm sure that you have a list like I do of things that you're like, if I could just have this one thing, but what's the point of having that thing? Like for me, one of the things is, I want to be able to quit my day job. I want to make enough money from my business to be able to do that. And so I keep asking myself, like, what's the reason for that? And part of the reason is freedom, right? I want to be able to do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it. If I want to go on vacation, then I want to be able to do that. I don't want to have somebody telling me what I need to do. So freedom, but then what's the reason that you want freedom? Well, the reason comes back to happiness, right? I don't want to be annoyed that somebody is telling me to do something that's ridiculous, that I don't agree with. It doesn't really make a difference if it gets done or not. And that just, that comes back to happiness. And so every single thing that I look at in my life that I want to change comes back to happiness. I want to buy a house. And it's not that, the place that I live is nice, but it's an apartment building, so there are neighbors that are loud and they stand outside and smoke even though they're not supposed to. There's all these little things that are like, if I could just have a house, I would be happy. But I also think that we get stuck in this cycle of thinking that if we just have those things, then we'll be happy. And really, it's more of a work of figuring out how to be happy while we're on the journey to getting those things. Because happiness comes from inside of us rather than what we have around us. And I think that the reason that we study personality types is to learn how to be happy with ourselves, right? We want to understand our personality so that we can practice acceptance, and so that we can find happiness, so that we can find joy in the little things, and so that we can solve some of our other problems. Maybe you have communication problems, especially with the people who are close to you. If you're married or in a serious relationship. Lots of communication problems, right? I have a lot of communication problems at work, in my family, with my friends, and it's so much easier when you can understand their personality type. Once you do that, then a lot of the questions that you have about why do they make the decisions that they do get answered pretty quickly and pretty easily. So I think really all of it comes back down to happiness. I think that's the whole reason that I started looking at personality types, really, because I was diagnosed with depression and an anxiety disorder. So I was basically just not happy at all. I didn't even know how to be happy. That's like one of the worst places that you can be in. I remember sitting in my counselor's office telling her, like, I don't think I'll ever be happy. And I think I probably asked her, like, is there some kind of drug that you can give me that would just, like, help me to make it through the next day? And she's like, don't you want to be happy? And I'm like, I don't think I can be happy. I think I'm just one of those people who's not happy. And when I was growing up, one of my grandmas, she was chronically unhappy. She was an alcoholic and she was addicted to a lot of different pain medications, prescription medications. And so she just, most of the time she just really wasn't there. But when she was mean and angry all the time. And I was listening to Evan Carmichael not too long ago, and he said that people who are mean and angry, they have pain. And that's why they are the way that they are. It's not that they like being that way. It's just that there's some sort of pain that they haven't dealt with or they don't know how to deal with. And that's why they are the way that they are. I think that's really true, honestly. And it's really sad to me that she never figured out how to be happy. And my mom used to say, both of my parents used to say, she just doesn't know how to be happy. Like, she's just miserable and she's just always going to be that way. And so when we were growing up, that was part of their, like, warnings to us. Like, you don't want to turn out like your grandma. You got to figure out how to be happy. You got to do something different because you don't want to turn out like her. And the sad thing was that I thought that that's what I was. That I was like, I thought that some people just didn't know how to be happy. You know, I thought some people don't have self-love. Some people don't know how to be happy. Like, some people just really get the short end of the stick. And I thought that's what happened to me too. But and two, back then I was like not interested in any type of self-development or personal growth, which is kind of funny that I do what I do now and that I'm like so interested and invested in it. But I guess it takes something like that that's kind of like hitting rock bottom before you realize what's important and what you need to do to get those things that are incredibly important. So really, I mean, that's really the whole point of the book, the INFJ user guide. That's a lot of the reason that I do what I do. I think a lot of it just comes back down to happiness. Yeah, that's pretty much what I had for today. It's kind of short and sweet, actually. I was thinking about this movie that we used to watch when I was young. It was called As Good as It Gets. It's this movie. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it because it's really funny. It has Jack Nicholson in it. And he's like, he has this obsessive personality in the movie. And he's like crazy about washing his hands. And this is like way pre-COVID. So like, no, it was like really weird to see him. Like, he would only use one bar of soap every time he washed his hands. And you know, he wouldn't step on any of the cracks in the sidewalk, and he lived in New York, so it was like funny watching him walk down the sidewalk. But he was having this massive problem, and so he went to his counselor's office, and his counselor was like, no, you have to make an appointment. Like, you can't just barge in here and me listen to your problems. You have to make an appointment. And so he's like yelling at his counselor, and he walks through the waiting area, and there's a bunch of people in the waiting area, and they're all looking at him because he's yelling, you know, and he stops and he looks at them and he goes, what if this is as good as it gets? And they all just kind of gasp, like this audible. I always think about that when I'm thinking about happiness, because I think a lot of times we watch these movies and TV shows. A lot of us have bought into the whole Disney and Barbie thing, and you go through life day to day and it doesn't really match up to what your expectations were. And so it's really easy to just go, man, is this it? Like, is this really all that there is? And it is kind of shocking. I'm like the people who were gasping. Like, wait a minute. What if this is it? What if this is all that there is? And then there's another part of me that's like hopelessly optimistic. That's like, no, this can't be. I'm going to change it. I have to change it. I've changed so many things in my life. I tell my friends that I literally will things into existence, because when I want something like really, really badly, I'll do whatever it takes to get it. If I'm like super passionate about something, I will believe in it so much that I feel like I'm literally believing it into existence, or hoping and just like willing it into existence. I don't know if you guys do that. Let me know in the comments if you do that, because I hope that it's an INFJ trait, because I know that we like to dream really big dreams, and then we also have the ability to go after those dreams, to make plans and figure out how to make things happen. But some of the things that I've like willed into existence have been these really big things that everybody told me was impossible. And they seemed impossible to me in the beginning. But I mean, I really think that you should have impossible dreams, because if you don't have impossible dreams, then I don't think that your dreams are big enough. I don't know how you keep going if you don't have impossible dreams, I guess. Maybe that's just how I operate. Maybe it's something special and specific about me. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that was chapter 13. I just basically wanted to let you know that you're not alone. There are, at the very least, 77 million people out there that have the same personality type that you do. Could be 2 to 3 times that. I think that's like 1% of the world population. So it could be, depending on who you ask. Some people say that INFJs are 1%. Some people say 2 or 3%. So it really just depends. So, yep, that's it. All right, well, that's it for the book club. I don't know if we're gonna keep doing these live videos once a week. I have a couple of things that I want to tell you guys about, though. I have a free Facebook group. If you haven't joined it, you should definitely join it. You can find it on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/INFJwoman. I do live videos in there once a month. And then I also have an insiders group that I'm doing live videos in there twice a month. And you can find all the information about that at infjwoman.com/insiders. Also, I am working on what I'm calling my my happiness project. So I've been thinking about and focused on happiness a lot lately. So much so that I came up with 30 different blog posts that are all focused around how to have happiness in your life. And they're little simple things that you can do every single day that will help you find happiness. And they're free, so absolutely no cost. You just have to sign up in order to get access to them. So if you go to infjwoman.com/happiestlife30, then you can get access to them. There's a link to it in my bio. There's a link at the top of, I think there are like 3 or 4 little buttons at the top. So you can go sign up for those. They're gonna start November 1st, which is next week. I can't believe it's November already, but here we are. It's that time of the year that just flashes past us in like 2 seconds. I've already started listening to Christmas music because I don't want to miss out on Christmas, and it seems like I always jump in too late, so I decided you might as well just get started, right? And that's one of the things that makes me happy, so why not? Why does it have to be limited to like 2 weeks in December? So, all right, that's it. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I will see you guys again soon. So you just watched that video, and I'm sure you enjoyed it. If you want some more amazing information about INFJs, check out these videos right now. I'll see you there.